I've also read some of your posts in the past, and I can't quote it because I haven't seen it in a really long time. I think that it was related to one of the hospitals here in Indianapolis, and you shared a little bit about some doctors that had helped you in the past, and you were expressing gratitude towards these doctors that had helped you. But it was in relation to the burns that you had sustained, and you were thanking the doctors for the work that they had done, and that kind of thing. Well, I think that it's very critically important that we share difficulties that we have and share things like that. But a lot of companies are really afraid of putting anything forward that is not super polished. They don't want to share any struggles. They don't want to share anything like that. And I think that your ability to do that is something that makes you very relatable. What's the role in sharing the struggle or the journey as it pertains to marketing or any company?
My struggle in sharing that I'm a burn survivor is really where I connect the whole power of a peer into mental health and substance use. And so my walk as a burn survivor, if someone came up to me who might have a little burn from a curling iron, to me that might not stick with me, because to me I am a 60% burn survivor. I've been burned my whole life, since the age of 14 months old. And so that story doesn't really stick. And so what does stick is, I have a lifelong friend. I call her my soul sister, who is also a 60% burn survivor, who was burned in a Jeep accident. And so she, was definitely someone who I relate to, have developed quite a friendship with, because she's really the only one I've ever met who can understand my walk, and her vice versa. And so I think it's important in substance use and mental illness to find people to walk alongside you, like I said, with that why. And that's why I'm a huge fan of the peer programs such as Phoenix Paramedicine, what Jason Paget has done, what other people such as Brandon George and a lot of other key people in our communities have started with this peer piece, because not every peer has the same walk, but if we can have diverse peers to be able to really connect with people, I think that really brings people alongside to treatment and to long term recovery. I think it's very powerful. So I think that's how I use that, if I'm remembering that right, is that connection and giving that voice to peers, because I think that's such a strong service for those who suffer with substance use and mental illness. And then the other part is just the struggle as an agency. We often hear, as a community mental health center, our wait lists can sometimes be long and our accessibility is sometimes hard. Well, that's not from a center perspective that we want to be difficult. Our struggle is workforce. And so, without having licensed clinical social workers and without having licensed clinicians to be able to service that need, it's more of a shortage need. And so, where that struggle might seem like it's accessibility, it's really on the workforce issue. And so, I really believe that the struggles need to be heard to help with advocacy, to help with legislation, to help with payers, to help with workforce, and being really transparent in what those are, so that we can rally together as a community to help in solving them, versus just saying, oh, your struggle is access and having that reputation. Well, that's not really our true struggle. Our true struggle is on the workforce side. And we're in a workforce shortage area. The state and really in our country, it's quite an epidemic that we have so much need and not a lot of qualified staff to meet that need. And so that's the struggle I like to be really transparent about.
From the onset of mental illness or addiction, a lot of times it'll take up to a decade before somebody goes in to receive help. So we try to do our part to shorten that duration of suffering to where people feel comfortable reaching out to somebody, to an organization to get help, whether that be sharing our struggle so people know that there are other people out there in a very similar boat that have walked that line. And by the way, that reduces stigma. That's
Right.
one of the big ways to reduce stigma. I encourage everyone that's strong to, if you're strong enough to tell your story, if you're ready for it, to go ahead and tell it.